we want to diversify the stories that come out to the mainstream. And with this initiative, we want to interview founders who are making an impact on the ground uh, in different domains across various cities in India. And we thought like your organization, what it's doing, it's really changing, and you've been on ground since 3 years. So like we would want to know like what do you do and like how did it start?
See, what we do is that we are connected with, we initially started off this as a digital, I mean, health card right now. So we have pivoted due to COVID. And what we basically, our aim and our goal is to enable affordable healthcare. So there is a gap between, people who have a health insurance and people who are reimbursed reimbursed by the government, and there are a certain group of people who does not have access to health insurance, who are between the below poverty line, and who does not have the ability to buy the health insurance, and who have the ability to buy it, but also those people are mainly in a place like the Northeast. They are mainly people who are employed by the state government or central. So that's there is a gap which we identified, and we wanted to solve this problem. And what can we do as an alternative to an insurance, that how can we help these people in a I know it may not sound very lucrative or attractive when we say like this kind of 10 to 20% or 30% as compared to insurance. In no way in the world that we're trying to actually compete with an insurance. But then again, yes, we're just trying to cater to people who cannot afford health insurance. Or आप ऐसा नहीं कह सकते कि चलो उसके पास पहले जब ठीक था उसके पास इंश्योरेंस लेना था, अभी तो नहीं हो सकता. I mean, you cannot literally penalize them, the LMI, the blue collar worker that we are serving, these are people who are reluctant on spending thousands and 4 or 5 thousand rupees for something that may or may not occur. And I understand that the risk, that's what wherein they wanted to take. That is not because they do not disrespect the fact that they could somehow get sort of like I wouldn't get sick or anything as such, but it's just that मुझे बेहतर है कि 4,000 को खर्चा करने से बेहतर है कि मुझे इसमें probably for my day-to-day needs or consumption expenditure के लिए and all that. That's the thing. Now how we start, it's so see, for me this is a problem that I deeply care about because I've experienced it myself. My dad was diagnosed with cancer, and then I was in a pitch show, and someone said to me like, which I completely disagree. They can you cannot actually argue with an investor. They have all the negotiation power. That I understand that trying to do something which is driven by emotion, which I completely disagree. See, the problem that I wanted to solve is, like I said, my dad was diagnosed with cancer, and wherein we exhausted all our money, and we are still left with abdomen CT scan, wherein there was a autopsy that needs to be run. And that was literally the pain wherein I had towards my dad, waiting. And I had to call up my sister and said, listen, I need extra 20,000. Can you rent it and send it to me? And until my sister could arrange it, I literally have to watch my dad since morning 6 o'clock. Then we went to hospital, and then it was 2 o'clock, in the evening, afternoon. So that's how painful it was for me. And then I understand that the guy or the investor that I won't talked about, but have every right to actually see it from that angle. But for me, the point that I'm trying to make is that this is not something that is emotionally driven, and which I would try and ask people to refrain from seeing it from that point of angle. But instead, this is a problem that I deeply care about, and that I understand how painful it is, and I know better, and that's why I can do better, right? Serve better. And if I am to provide a solution, so in that problem, so the problem that you face and the problem that someone else face, if you're to solve it, so that's, for me, is like, I'm convinced that I'm the best person who has to create this platform, because I am the best person who knows it and how it feels. So that was basically how we started. And there are other instances as well. I mean, living in a place like metropolitan cities, Delhi, Hyderabad, Bangalore, I was there. And you know, given the kind of access that you have in metro, tier one cities, and in a place like the Northeast, Manipur, mean no disrespect to the government or any other, administration, but it is completely different. So that's wherein, those sort of instances kind of triggered me. And finally, in the year 2018, I left my job. I was working as a credit, a management, associate, a senior associate, and wherein I left and started this venture. So pretty slow, but then again, you have to win people trust, and with a very small amount of resources, you know किसी को यकीन दिलाना बहुत मुश्किल होता है, क्योंकि आपके पास बहुत limited resource and all that. I had to go through, some people would say that, in a startup world, you have to like uh, do it fast, fail fast, and then rectify it fast. Sometimes that is applicable if you have a whole lot of cash that you can burn um, under your resources. But it, the likes of our startup, given the kind of access that we have uh, in terms of investors or networks, I mean, it was very limited. But with the likes of Headstart, now we started the interaction. I think I met Gotham in Sikkim. So we've met, and very cool guy. So hoping that I'm gonna need him one day, sooner or later. That's what the kind of networking that we were able to actually build in the ecosystem now. So that's where I'm looking forward to. So once I start talking, then probably I may not give you a chance to ask me questions. So I'll
No,
end
no,
that for now.
fine.
Yeah.
It's fine. It's actually very refreshing to people talk about it with such passion. We just talk about, like, we just usually encounter what people write in their about us section, which is not very true. So like, so what are the unique challenges you faced in particular to the geographical limitations or any such uh, any such boundaries? Did this initiative have any such boundaries, or is it I don't know, but like I'm this is a very naive question, but like how, like, what audiences do you cater to, and like what is their demographic?
So, the demographic, if I have to actually give you stats across the country, then, in India, we have 62.7% who meet their healthcare expenses out of pocket, and who reduces their consumption expenditures. And, that's which often result in catastrophic health expenditure. So 62.7%, and then if we looked at the insurance, market penetration, it's very less. um so the kind of people that we're catering to is the people who cannot afford health insurance, and who does a limited income, which is a maximum of 30,000 in the neutral or nuclear family. And yeah, so their average income is like 15 to 30,000, and these are the people who cannot trim their income for unforeseen medical emergency or emergency expenditures, who cannot save. Because in India we have 57% of the entire 1.3 billion population. 57% does not have 5,000 rupees in their savings account. So which ultimately translate, the way we see it, into people does not have any health emergency fund, and therefore it is imperative for us to have one particular emergency fund. मतलब आप मान लो कि चलो ठीक है, इसमें तो ज़्यादा कुछ खास नहीं है, ठीक है, लेकिन wherein I would disagree it, because I mean, since it's an open conversation, if someone above जो बंदा that who we want to invest, if they say that, probably we may have to kind of agree, or should not cross question. But then again, people will say that, okay, I think people can depends on a personal loan, ठीक है, लेकिन दिक्कत ये की ना कि आपके पास अगर कुछ ऐप है, मान लो कि there is an app wherein you can access a, a personal loan anytime within 5 minutes or 3 minutes, for that matter. So see, you will access it somehow when you need it. But आपको क्या पता कि शायद when you need it for medical expenditure, probably you are actually already availing that ability, that the loan that you have access to, and it may not be on time. So that's why we wanted to design this specifically just for the benefits of the unforeseen medical expenditures for whoever is vulnerable and with a limited income should be given the kind of platform and access to ease of access to fund for their medical emergency expenditures. So now the geographical barrier, I'm not sure if you're talking about that the market that we are serving is only applicable within the state of the Northeast or particular state. Then I would say that no, if that's the question, then because
No, I was
like I
asking
said.
like what kind of people have mostly like availed your services across India, or like what pockets do
Okay.
you feel like have you catered till now?
Yeah. So that's the kind of people that we are catering to are with a LMI group, and which
Mhm.
75% of our services beneficiaries, I'd say, are the LMI groups and collar worker, and these are the people. And till date we have served more than 5,000, which we nearly touch about more than 6,000. And yeah, that's the number of people that we have already provided service. And for us it's kind of great, but we believe that we can do better. And now we are trying to do a very exponential growth, which within 6 months we are trying to hit a very huge number, which I would rather not disclose yet. But yeah, after 6 months there will be huge changes in terms of our new user acquisition. So that's what I can tell,
So
because I
like
don't want to get ahead of myself.
yeah, yeah, completely makes sense. So like how does this model work? So like how do they repay you, or what is the process like?
Okay. So how it works is like once they can go on the app and download the app and register and check their credit. So based on their profile, the credit underwriting will be done through our partners. And once they have the amount, let's say 7,000 is approved, has a person has a credit line of 7,000, then in case of any medical emergency, the person have access to 7,000. ठीक है, उसको 7,000 का कहीं और ढूंढने का जरूरत नहीं. So that's basically. Now the person goes to hospital. Then what we do is like once the bill is generated, then we will pay the hospital on behalf of that person. It's that simple. Now the repayment is in a form of a one-time payment. That is the ideal mode of payment that we actually send the link to, and the payment is accepted and received on our payment gateway link. And we use a payment gateway, and in case if the person is not able to repay it in one shot, then we ask the person's incomes and ability. Then again, we try to sort out a payment plan based on his or her abilities. So basically, what we do is in meeting many, I think I'll take like 3 months or let's say 4 months. Then based on that, we charge 3% of interest, segregate into 4 payments, and it's when the payment needs to be paid from their account or their card.
Okay, cool, cool, cool. So like how does like how did what was the kind of how are you affected by COVID? Like let's put like it as simple as that.
Okay. See, the fund that we've raised from Notice Venture Fund was 25 lakhs, which was a very, very early stage in which we don't have a clue, honestly. And then we were completely into a plastic card. It wasn't an app back then. When COVID hit us. Um, so we have invested for card printing, brochure printings, and all this booklet and all this stuff, wherein we have involved a lot of groundworks. And whoever applied, we have to actually, put an envelope and then seal the envelope and mail it back to that person, along with the, list of the network hospital that we have, sort of all sorts of booklets. Now, after investing more than half of the money on that part and building an infrastructure to go ahead with it, and then To our surprise, very unprecedented things happened, which is COVID, right? And there was lockdown. We couldn't meet. We couldn't actually go out and sell our cart. That's when we pivoted to a digital health. Why don't we actually, go ahead and develop an app that's going to be, which would provide a similar kind of benefits, and also a person does not no longer would be in requirement of a physical card, wherein as long as they have their mobile application, then they can actually like use it anywhere they go across our network hospital. That's why we pivoted and building an app, testing it, and so that was how it affected us. And then we kind of like have a sort of like gas crunch, but then again we have to actually reduce our fixed cost and and overhead expenses, wherein we have to actually like completely go on commission basis. Those are the navigation that have come across, because I mean, for us, see, entrepreneurship, no, I don't have an experience. Does my dad? No, no one of being the first generation. And for me, even the like building a project, or writing down a business plan, for me back then even was very, very challenging. And now, sort of like a the darkest hour with the COVID thing happened, then like it or not, um God forbid, but there was a person just across our office who got positive, and then it was again declared by the district collector, magistrate, that a containment zone, that we couldn't even open the office, and that's where things really hit us hard. And but a good thing now, like everyone, um, that I used to believe that being in the startup world could sometimes, I mean, the media actually made it very fancy and sort of like attractive. I don't know, but I'm not just this is really hard. It's not how you see, and being in this entrepreneurship and trying to build something, uh, give your idea to life, is something that's never ending task. And this will always be. And the fact is that I do love it though. So
Yeah.
hope that
But
answer your question.
yeah, yeah, it was perfect. Like the interview was really nice. It was really great talking to you. Wishing you all the best for the future, and hitting that number that you are telling us in the next 6 months. And hope to
Yes.
see you again.
Yep.
Anything I
Definitely.
didn't ask in my questions which you would like to elaborate on, or something that I missed out in this interview, if you would want to add?
No, I would not. I don't see anything that that, because I don't know what. I mean, from your part, if you think I've answered your question, then I think I've done a pretty good job. But otherwise, just I'm very glad the fact that I kind of met people like, I mean, which I would like to mention. There are a lot of people in Mumbai, Shonak, and then Malar. These people really helped me, connect me with an angel investor, wherein we have an investor who's coming on board with us. And we have kind of get a certain number of funding which is coming to our accounts, and which will be for the benefits of course, our startup. So it was a very dark journey, but then again, both, regardless of how stressful it was, still, if we clinged on to it, and just if we don't give up, then one way or another things just turn out. So yeah, that's something that I just want to add on, because that actually is the reason why we do things.